Assalamu alaikum, my dear friends. I'm glad to welcome you today. Happy Friday. Today, we are going to be talking about NLP values elicitation. So, what values elicitation is? It is the process of finding out what you truly value. It's like finding your North Star. The things, the values that your subconscious mind always chases to fulfill. These are the things that drive most of your decisions, whether those are conscious or subconscious. So, we are going to do it through the method that I learned in NLP, which is neuro linguistic programming. First of all, I'm going to share why it is so important for a person to know their values. Then I'm going to share how to do it and what values to avoid. At the end, I'm going to give you a little test that will tell you whether the goals that you have right now align with your values or not. If they don't align with your values, you will set better goals and you will not punish yourself for not achieving the goals that don't align with your values in the first place. So, why must a person know what their values are? Why should they care, right? I believe that a person gets clarity and purpose only when they are truly aware of what their values are. When you know your values, you're going to take decisions that align with those values. You're going to set goals for yourself that fulfills those values, and you're never going to be led astray by society, by strangers, or by trends. So you're never going to go astray by looking at what other people are doing, and you always have some inner direction, inner compass to follow. And the best part of this is it's a great way to get to know yourself. Isn't this life a beautiful chance to get to know ourselves? So let's take that chance. For example, when I was sitting down doing this exercise for myself, I found out that my top three values are authenticity, creativity, and uniqueness. That is why I found out that I've been blaming myself in vain for not completing an art project. So the the reason I didn't do that art project quickly was because I didn't just want to copy anything off the internet. I wanted it to be something unique, and in uniqueness requires a lot of creative energy. At that time, I didn't have that much energy because I was focusing on my studies. So it gave me a positive perspective into my own past. It told me that I should stop punishing myself for fulfilling my own values because that even that time that I was not that I thought I'm not doing well, I was actually subconsciously trying to make my work as best as perfect as possible, and I didn't settle down to use quick fixes or copy something off the internet. These values are so stubborn, so ingrained in our subconscious that they might actually get in the way of us trying to do something that we want to do. For example, a creative person, might procrastinate a lot on a task. Because they value creativity so much, they like to have all of their options open all the time and they like to have freedom of choice. So when they're forced to do a task that requires them to leave that freedom or sacrifice some part of it for the time being, their brain does not understand that this short term sacrifice of joy is going to actually give me long term satisfaction. So, if you learn your own values, it's going to not only help you set the goals, the right goals that don't disappoint you, but it's also going to help you understand your negative behaviors and things that you're trying to change about yourself. Actually, every part of you that you want to change, it is trying to point towards something that your values already know. So, how to do this process? You first of all think about a big goal that you want to achieve. Anything. You don't have to wait for the perfect goal that sounds perfect, that sounds like you want to commit to it. Just any goal that's on your mind, anything that you want to do, hopefully, or you want to do it in the next 2 3 years. Write down that goal. Now keep asking yourself. For example, you want to earn X amount of money. Ask yourself, what would having X amount of money do for me? Then, whatever comes to your mind, write it down. For example, you might think, it will make me happy. Write down the happy. What will that do for you? I will spend more time with my family and I would not have much time I would not have to work a lot. Okay, so what will not having to work a lot do for you? What will that in turn give you? Write that again. It will give me satisfaction. Okay, so what kind of satisfaction? So after what will having satisfaction give to you? It will control my anger. What will having your anger controlled do for you? It will improve my family relations. You see, when something keeps repeating again and again, you write it, and when you read your text, the thing that you've written down, you find out that the thing that is most repeating is your actual goal. In this example that I shared, the person's actual goal wasn't earning money, it was spending quality time with their family. So, this is their actual goal, this is what they're trying to chase. Keep doing this exercise until you keep running into the same goals, the same values again and again. Those are your real values. So, once you've collected at least five of those values, it's time to find out which of them is first, which of them ranks first on your priority list, because it is important to prioritize. You will notice that in your list of goals, there are some goals that are very, very generalized. For example, happiness, success. Everyone wants to be happy, everyone wants to be successful. Those are very vast and generalized. I would suggest you put them aside for a moment and focus on the goals of the middle ground that are very personal to you. For example, family time, quality time with family, health, justice. Those are your values. So, and I want you to avoid the values that are too dependent on other people. For example, you want to be respected. Now, respect is not something that you gain from others, it is something that you have within yourself. So if one of your values is self-respect, it's like demanding something that you are not able to provide to yourself. Or self love. All the words that begin with self are actually putting your personality into two people. So, self love implies that there's a self and then there's love. So, so it implies that you are not one person, that you are two-person, that there's a part of you that loves you and the part of you that receives love. It will create confusion and inner battle within you. So instead of focusing on those things, I want you to tap into your inner reservoir of love. When you see someone, when you see two friends valuing each other very much and you want that for yourself, I don't want you to look at them and say, I wish I had someone like that. I want you to acknowledge that part of you that senses that this is something precious that I want. And I want you to praise yourself for recognizing that, because how would you know what love is if you didn't have it in yourself? How would you know what joy is if you didn't have it in yourself? The purpose of this exercise is to help you become as independent as possible in fulfilling your own values, so that you don't have to rely on other people to give you something that you need. Because the truth is, you already are complete and your values have already chosen you. They're already ingrained in your subconscious mind. The thing that you want the most wants you the most too. Okay, now that we're left with the values of middle ground, something that isn't too vast but and also isn't too dependent on other people, I want you to rank them in this way. For example, you have three values A, B, and C. Ask yourself, if I had A for the rest of my life but didn't have B and C, would I be happy? Rate the happiness out of 10. It could be 2 out of 10, 5 out of 10, 7 out of 10, something like that. Then ask yourself, if I had B in my life but I didn't have A and C, or that I had very, very little amounts of A and C, how would I feel? Keep doing this until what feels right clicks, and then you will know what you value the most. Uh, if at some point you feel like you're feeling too confused, stop right there, and there's no need to rank them exactly like 1, 2, 3. But once you're left with a limited number, like a couple of values, 2 or 3 values, then you're good to go. You don't need to list them further. And don't worry, you are always going to keep improving and iterating the process, because life is all about experience and learning. So if you found out some values and you are feeling afraid that now I have to commit to those things and I will not never be able to change those values. Don't worry, our values might change over time, but the core values often remain the same. If you look through your childhood, your adulthood, if you're someone in your late 30s or 40s, you might realize that the same kind of values you've been following all your life. If you're younger, you have little experience and you might not be very sure, then I would suggest that you look at the most emotionally intense experiences of your life. Where what did you feel the most at that time, and what happens to your body when you recall those? So often the things that make us the most angry or the most triggered are these events also point towards our inner values, and there is a way to process those. Okay, now that we are left with three or four values, I'm going to ask you the question that the goal that you set in the beginning of this video, does it still align with those values? And here's what I mean by alignment. Alignment does not mean, for example, you value happiness and you set a goal for yourself that makes sure that you will get happiness only after you achieve that goal. That goal does not fully align with you. A goal that aligns with you gives you happiness through the process. If you feel like the goal does not align with you, if you feel like there's a better, a shorter and easier way to get your values fulfilled rather than taking the long turn of following that goal only to be realizing at the end that it isn't what you wanted, then it's okay. You can discard that goal and you can start fulfilling your values instead. It's not a bad thing to abandon a goal once you know that it's no longer aligning with you. The second question that's going to finally tell you whether the goal that you have aligns or not is, if no one could see you do it, or if this goal did not promise any success, if no one could praise you, there was no one to see the end result, see you struggle and achieve it, would you still do it? If the answer is still yes, if you are someone like who says, I don't care if people see me or not, I will do it for myself, then that goal aligns with your soul. Because oftentimes we humans, we follow other people around us and we tend to pick up their subconscious desires as our own. So what they desire, we feel or we think that it is also our own desire. But it is very important that we sit with ourselves and ask ourselves if that desire really aligns with us. Even the goals we think we want, sometimes they are a byproduct of the desires of our closest human beings. So that's it. If the answer is still yes, then good luck and pursue that goal with all your might. Go all in right now. There's no such thing as half commitment, half love, half commitment, or something like that. So I would advise you to go all in and good luck. See you next time. Allah Hafiz.